So welcome to Quiz Month. My name is Gareth Kingston, former 15 to 1 champion, regular quizzer, and the host for this. And with me is Paddy Duffy, Irish international quizzer, and member of the Round Britain Quiz panel, and Shanine Salmon, who describes herself as a perennial quiz show loser. So what more can you ask for in terms of qualifications from a panel? So this is the first time we're doing Quiz Month, looking back at events of the previous month in the world of quiz. And what bigger event was there in September than somebody winning £1 million? And we're really lucky to have with us not just one, but two Fears. We have Donald Fear, who won £1 million this month, and we have his brother Davyth, who won £500,000 on Millionaire a year ago. So the most successful quiz siblings in UK TV history. I think that would be a fair description of you. Welcome, guys. Great to have you on board.
Yep, great to be here.
So I thought we'd kick off just by saying, Don, congratulations. How has it been the last few weeks?
Well, obviously the tsunami of media attention hit me. You sign all these forms when you're on the show, basically saying you're likely to be become subject to some media attention, so prepare for it. But nothing prepares you for being doorstepped by the Sunday Mirror and flashbulbs in your face when you open the door, I'm still walking through the street to Greg's, getting parked at, and people waving, and that's what it has been very, very nice, I have to say. And when I go on Facebook, I look at, it's unwise enough to look at my messages, and I didn't even realise there was such a thing as a spam folder. And I looked in it, and there was like 500, 600 messages, lots of whom from Nigerian people who are offering their bank accounts for me to rest my money in for them, which is very, very kind of them. I might take them up on the offer, and then again I might not.
You might want to take some advice on that one.
I'd heard that there was some, there were some rumblings that somebody might have won. I tried to just sort of find out off my own volition. Nobody would tell me a thing. Like people I've worked with for years and years, and I didn't get a peep out of them. So it's like, did you find it difficult to keep that to yourself?
And keeping the secret from everyone in the household is completely impossible, of course. I was doing quite well until Who Wants to Be a Millionaire themselves rang up about 3 days before the show. And I heard the phone go, and I was busy in here on a task, and I thought I better dash in and get that because it might be the show. And of course, I was too slow. And then my daughter comes in with this, Dad, and said, "I know who it is." I know who it is. So, just give me the phone.
Who shall ask who's calling? How do you play that?
Yeah, that's what she's very well trained to do that, unfortunately. Yes. The funny thing was, of course, ITV themselves gave it all away. I was so annoyed with that. They was desperately keeping a secret. Then suddenly, there's this. Oh my gosh! Jeremy Clarkson said this is the greatest quiz guy who's ever been, and so everyone said, "Oh my God, it must be Kevin Ashman. He must have gone to the show." Unfortunately for them, it's me. But once that came out, and the funny thing is, my daughter she'd woken up with a dream, so she was talking with her partner, and this was mid-August. And she said, I've got this really strange feeling. No idea that she had no idea I was on the show at all. She said, I've got this really funny feeling that Dad's on Millionaire. And then next day, the story broke that there was a Millionaire coming up. And her partner looked at it and said, "That's your dad, that is." and how is that even possible? This was something like the 19th of August. We're talking almost a month before the show was aired. So anyway, the secret sort of leaked out into my family somehow. But it was absolutely amazing. It really was the night of the show itself. Wow.
Explain why they leaked it, because I remember seeing the story that someone has won £1 million for the first time in 14 years, I think it was.
Yes, it was 14 years.
And the reaction was, why have you told us this? Why didn't the audience just kind of come to it as they were watching, as you would have got when the series was on? I don't know when it last ended, but kind of the 20 years ago, it was usually a surprise when someone got the £1 million, and we didn't have that as an audience this time. So
it boosted the audience perhaps during the week because everyone was tuning in thinking it's going to be tonight. But of course, when it came to the last show, halfway through the last show, when Hamal was he went off with 32,000, then it was obvious that there was so little time left. There was only going to be time. So whoever next person walking to the chair had to be the one. So of course that was well truly. But the trouble is, they also gave a teaser, didn't they? They gave a 20-second teaser of the show, and who was slap bang in the middle of it in his pink shirt, in the famous pink shirt, it was me. And I said to the publicity, I was very cross that they've included me in that. Because,
and you had lots of your school kids as well on
well, of course, it just
Twitter and Facebook and saying, I reckon that's my teacher. I reckon he's done pretty well.
Yes, and of course you could rewind live television. So in no time at all, one kid had seen it, passed it to six, his mates, their mates. No time at all, 600 people at my school alone knew I was on the show. Okay, and there were people in my family. My wife heard my mother-in-law scream very loudly downstairs. She piled downstairs thinking she was falling over or something, and she'd just seen.
Just saw you in your pink shirt and just got excited. Yeah.
So the secret that was on the show at all did not. ITV, thank you very much. Let that out.
I had people contacting me saying, I've seen you on the TV, but you're wearing a different colour shirt this time. They couldn't.
Davyth, you were a phone a friend. You've been in that chair. You know how the day goes. The construction of you get to the studio, you get briefed. You sit around doing absolutely nothing for a long part of the day, makeup, etc. But what was it you were able to tell Don that would kind of ease that passage?
Yeah, I was able to tell Don about the format of the day, and then I was describing how the buttons are a lot more wobbly than you think.
Right.
and I just said, okay, you can cope with that. Just concentrate, do a professional job. I said, and I think that's what was in your mind, wasn't it, Don?
It was. That was the words actually going through my head as I'm approaching the chair.
Yeah.
Do a professional job and don't fall off the chair.
Don't fall off the chair. Mind you, that would have been one of those moments that we would have watched forever and a day.
Oh, I know. I was convinced I was going to get on the chair. I was going to go whirling round doing the sort of the 720 or something.
It was how heavy the glass of water was. It's like that. And
it's so heavy. It's so heavy, yeah. Yeah, it was great.
Don, when did you tell Davyth that you were a millionaire?
I can't remember. You stretched it out, didn't you?
I to be honest, we guessed because your phone of friends were myself, my father, and Terry, who was my phone of friend as well, who was Don's quiz partner. And okay, when Don got into the chair, you get the phone call to say, okay, he's in the chair now. So the security guard comes into the house and starts having a chat, and time went on. Yeah, no, it was only 5 minutes. Yeah, it was only 25 minutes. And, the phone went, and I thought, God, it's Jeremy Clarkson. And I answered the phone, and I was nonplussed because it wasn't Jeremy's voice. It was saying, okay, you can stand down there. Don's got off the chair. I'm sure he'll want to tell you how he's done himself. So, okay. I phoned my father, and my father said, okay. He was really shocked when the phone went because he thought that, again, it was going to be having to answer for Jeremy Clarkson. And the researcher said to him, oh, he's done pretty well. And phoned Terry, and he wasn't used either. So because none of the 3 phone of friends were used, either you really, as I said in another interview, you crashed and burned, or you got the million.
Yeah, to be honest, Davyth, that was the fact that I made a complete cock up of it. It was your first reaction, wasn't it?
No, it's not. It's pretty obvious that you'd done well, especially since the researcher said you'd done pretty well. Obviously, you hadn't sort of lost 400 whatever it's £1,000 or whatever. So, basically, we knew before your wife Deb did.
Yeah. But, I would like to have kept it absolutely secret with nobody knowing, but that was just not practical. It was never. I haven't got that personality to be able to do that, to be honest.
I mean, the £500,000 question. I was astounded by it because for me that's a question I've seen multiple times. Yeah. But I think as I did a reaction video, I say you take that luck. You take it, you pocket it, you don't apologise for it.
I don't think of that as a quiz chestnut. I think of it as a straight A-level politics fact that I teach in A-level politics lessons. So I didn't know it because I've done quizzes. I'm actually laughing as the question's being read because I know the answer before long before the options appear. That's at the Callaghan four officers of state. That's a fact I teach in lessons. Okay.
Yeah.
So easy. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I suspect John Major wasn't too chuffed when he watched the episode.
I apologise to him on this morning. That was bad. By the way, I'm right. But anyway, that's another. I apologise again to Sir John Major. Sorry about that, Sir John.
What was the point when you realised you were going to win $1 million? Was it when you saw that pirate question, or was it a little bit earlier?
Yes, 17. No, obviously with the question itself, but yeah, I just had a feeling that after the Callaghan question was so lucky that I was thinking, well, whatever they asked now, I'm going to be quids in, but the instant I saw the words in 1718, sorry, that was it. I knew it. Knew it immediately. Nothing else it could be.
And that's incredible because I did history A level and I did history at university, whatever. An option of doing piracy at any level, I don't think was ever on the menu for me.
No, it's never been on the national curriculum either. I was very lucky. Yeah. I taught in a school. It sounds terrible, Cambridge. It was a pretty rough school, but there were a lot of very low ability kids with short attention spans. And we were desperately cast around, and the usual trudge through the Middle Ages with the Year 7s didn't really work. So we found a way of let's make it more interesting. So we did a thematic approach. Let's take crime and punishment through time. Crime and punishment, loads of sexy bits like torture and trial by ordeal and all sorts of things. Let's cull out of it anything that's quite interesting. Let's have witchcraft. No, pirates. They can pop pirates in. And bingo! I actually found a PowerPoint I wrote on it, where basically just a potted history of 5 different pirates, including all the ones that came up as the options, and they had to choose one to do a little bit more research into and produce a PowerPoint of their own. And I wrote that 12 years ago, and I only ever taught it once. But it stuck in my mind, the Blackbeard, because all the kids chose him, and because they're all fascinated with the story of the cutlass fight with him against that lieutenant whose name I forget, who ran him through the guts basically and killed him. But he was always the one that the kids chose. They never, and therefore he stuck. That fact stuck.
A lot of people have said it's always a very easy fact because it was on Assassin's Creed. With the
So very kind of Slumdog Millionaire, really. I think if I'd have been in your position, I'd have been thinking, actually, no, I wouldn't have been thinking, where's Jeremy Beadle? Because, I think we all know where Jeremy Beadle is. But I'd have been thinking, is this candid camera? I'm getting all the questions that I know the answer to. At some point, somebody's going to go, and cut. We've been having you on. Did you ever have any of that paranoia?
You saw at the end after when I got ushered back into the chair by Jeremy, and I was just gasping. I was gasping for breath. I just couldn't believe it, and I just got the random set, which just couldn't have been. It could have been written for me. It really could.
It's brilliant. I have to say, I think most quizzes will have looked on that, and of course, there's a pang of envy because we'd all love to be there and have that opportunity. But it's also brilliant to see somebody deserving win and win big, because most shows on British TV, quiz shows, which have a large prize, generally don't allow decent quizzes on. Your prime time, Saturday tea time quizzes. The likes of myself, Paddy, Shanine. Well, Shanine, actually, you've been on one, haven't you? When you were younger.
When I was younger, I've been on a few when I was younger. I haven't done it in a while, but I know the ones you mean.
But the more you do it, the more you do, particularly the serious quizzing, the less chance you've got on getting on these things. So when you do see a good quizzer winning big, it's brilliant, and I really enjoyed that.
Do you want to do other quizzes, other game shows now? If you hit the pinnacle, where do you go after you?
I want one of those coveted trophies, but I have zero. My chance of getting on tipping point is probably gone.
I think you've waved goodbye to that, I'm afraid. Yeah. Do you have any advice for people who are going to be recording Millionaire in the future? Is there anything that you can take from your experience and go, okay, if you do one thing, or if you need to know one thing, it's this?
I'd say take your time. That you're the person in control, and I don't think that my fastest finger first was so quick that all the stress was on that. When I reached the chair, I did relax a bit. And the more you can relax yourself, the better. And of course, it's a pressure situation, and anything that's going to add pressure to you is going to work against you. So if you take your time, it doesn't make any difference if you're there for 2 or 3 minutes on that chair, just sorting out whether you're comfortable or not, and whether you want to take a sip of water, whether you twirl around on the chair a couple of times to relax, whatever. Once you're relaxed, you're going to do better, I think.
As long as when you twirl around, you don't fall off the chair.
Exactly.
And give Don his nightmare scenario.
I would just very echo the advice that Davyth gave me to other people. Is basically, as you walk into the chair, you're here to do a professional job, and also just be confident what you know. You know things. Be confident what you know. Don't talk yourself. The number of people who say, "Oh, I think it's that," but I better just ask the audience just to make sure. I would invariably throwing cushions at the telly when that happens. Why are you doing that? That's why so often you see people walk away with 32 thou who were quite capable of going further, and they haven't left themselves the lifelines to do it. So just be confident in your own knowledge and go for it. If you see an answer and it pops out at you, almost certainly that's because it is.
Okay, no, that's really good advice, because I think with a lot of TV quiz shows, you have the whole attitude of, I've had a lovely day, I've really enjoyed myself, and I'm going home with sod all. Whereas actually, you weren't there as a tourist. You were there to do a job, and the enjoyment comes from doing a job well, rather than just simply from being there. Right. Yeah.
So truly life-changing. If I had to get every single paycheck I've had over 33 years of teaching, that's it don't come anywhere near £1 million. I think it's just about limits over 500,000, I think. So the mind boggles. I can't cope with even imagining such sums, to be quite honest. Yeah. So, it's quite hard. I'm going to sit down with an Excel spreadsheet trying to work out what to do with it, and I find it quite difficult to comprehend the kind of numbers involved. Anyway.
Well, I mean, if you need to know of any Nigerian bank accounts to rest some of the money in, you know where to look now. Brilliant. Yep. Cheers, Donald. Davyth, thank you very much.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Cheers.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Lovely guys.
Yeah.
It came across on screen as well, because it's funny, because I was in Clongeffney watching Davyth. So it's just kind of I remember just flicking through and thinking of oh, it's Wheels on Wheels. So I deliberately sort of stayed there, not knowing how well he was going to do, of course. And so he really stuck in my head. And then when it transpired, who his brother was, I was well, yeah, really family, but a very humble one with it, and very, very, very nice, and very, very deserving winners of 1.5 million as well.
I know, that's a lot of money. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I've completely. It's one of these things. I often think sometimes where it's I really didn't miss a trick, because all my TV experience has been, almost all of it has been behind the scenes, and definitely when it comes to quizzes, it's been behind the scenes. And every now and then, I just sort of think, have I been a real sucker for not? If I'd done nothing with my life at all, went on Millionaire, I probably would have made more money.
Yeah, I always figure I made a mistake of. I went on one sort of trashy thing, Pass the Buck with Eamon Holmes. That was my first TV, and then I did the Channel 5 version of Going for Gold, and won a few episodes of that, but nobody saw it. They broadcast that final series at 4:00 in the morning.
Oh wow!
I didn't even know it was on. So that was fine, because nobody knew I'd won. But then, way too quickly, I went and did Mastermind. And as soon as you've done Mastermind, that's it. No, none of these big cash shows want to see you, because they'll just think, all of the people full of personality are going to get beaten by the boring middle-aged white guy who's just going to rock up and go, yeah, it's taxidermy. Yeah, it's Vesuvius. And just kind of nail it, do the job, but be rubbish TV. So I think I got that wrong. I should have gone for some big money shows before I did something serious.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. I was looking at the Millionaire application inspired by the events of tonight, thinking maybe I could try and win $1 million. I don't think it's going to happen, but I thought I'd give it a go. So I applied, and one of the questions they asked quite early on is, are you a member of any quizzing league? And it's kind of like they know. It's like, oh, we don't want the people who spend their Tuesday doing that or whatever day it is in other quizzing leagues. And it's kind of like, but those people are going to be interested in doing quizzes.
Yeah.
Those are going to be kind of, if you're worried about personality, get them into the audition and then work that out.
Yeah.
You can't just assume that, oh, that person does quiz leagues, so they're really boring, so we're not even going to get them to that stage of the process. But it's, I mean, people want to see people win. One of the things I struggled with is Eggheads, where every episode I saw, it was just them being, the members of the public being beaten every week. And it's like, well, why am I doing this? Why am I sitting here watching nice people being beaten by people who are professionals? That's the point. And what you wanted to see was this kind of adversity of normal people doing well. And if they happen to be in a quizzing league, then so be it. They're not being paid to be on the other side of the screen. So.
Well, I don't think that would count against you, because there's been quite a lot of people from QLL in the Jeremy Clarkson era. Even in the last series, there was Barry Humphrey got into the contestants row, Lucy Reynolds got into contestants row, Ned Pendleton did. There's been quite a few. John Stitcher, who runs the online quiz league, and he's Merseyside Quiz League, he's been in. There's been quite a few people. So I think they do pick people, but I think they carefully pick.
Yeah, they don't want it just league people, just everyone knows each other as well, because you end up with kind of maybe collusion. Because I remember doing, when I did 15 to 1, accidentally someone who I knew from Twitter was on the same episode. So this wasn't even a league. This was just some random guy that I followed and I'd never met in real life before. And he happened to be there. And that ended up, and I think they get a bit weird when they're kind of like, oh, you're friends with each other. And it's like, yeah, but you've probably been in the hotel before with each other as well. So even if you don't know each other before, you're probably going to meet there. So
no, they get paranoid about that. They did with the grand final of 15 to 1 that I was on. And it's like, I know 6 of these people. You know, you can't keep us all apart. So we were in the green room, and I was reading questions and everybody was answering questions. We would, to just alleviate boredom, because the biggest problem doing any TV quiz is you spend hours doing nothing. And then they realised, they saw that all this happening, and they decided we were too pally, and they didn't want us being too friendly on set, so they split us up. And it's like, that's not going to make a difference. As soon as we get on set, it gloves off. And as Steve Godding will tell you, the moment that I turned and nominated him in the grand final, it was like turning point, because it was like all bets are off now, because he's gone for one of his friends. And I thought, I'm going to go for one of them before one of them goes for me. So I think there is that kind of paranoia, but I don't think it's actually well founded, because any serious quizzer wants to win. So thanks, Shanine. Thanks, Paddy. We'll convene again this time next month to look back on what's happening quiz in October. And if anybody's watching and you've got something that you think we should be looking at or talking about, then email allthingsquiz@gmail.com. We'll add it to the list and we will talk crap about it. So please get in touch, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye.
If you enjoyed hearing from the Fear Brothers, then I've got good news for you. There is more of that interview available on our interviews playlist. Lots more stories, lots more laughs. It's a really good interview. Check it out.